Alright guys, so in today's video I thought it'd be really fun and interesting to take a look at PCgamer's tier list on how they rank every Genshin Impact character. So I thought this would be just a fun video to go ahead and do something different just to shake up the content a little bit, and a huge shout out to PCgamer. I will leave a link to this page in the description below. Like I mentioned, I thought it would be just fun to take a look at how they rank each Genshin Impact character and kind of base it off how I would rank them. So this is once again just for fun, just to see and to shake up the content and to do something a little bit different. And I do implore you in the comments down below, go ahead and let me know how you would rank some of these characters, or if you disagree in a certain area, go ahead and let me know that in the comments down below as well. I would love to be able to read and see what you guys have to say. So taking a look at it, we have the tier list right here, but what's really great about this one, and the reason why I wanted to do PCgamers, is because they go into a little bit of detail for the reason why they place each character in that certain tier. And I do have to preface the video by stating that, you know, in Genshin Impact, it's a lot different than other gacha games where characters, you can make any character a really good one and make them extremely strong if you spend the time and resources into them. So take tier lists in Genshin Impact with a grain of salt, but like I mentioned, I thought this would just be a great way to shake up the content and to take a look at something that's a little bit different, as I feel like tier lists do have their place, but in Genshin Impact it's just a little bit different. So let's go ahead and take a look at their S tier characters, who they place in this tier. And if we just take a look at quickly at the tier list, they have Venti, Deluxe, Fischl, and Chichi. Now right off the bat, I do not have any qualms with either one of those characters being in S tier, as I think they're all well deserving of that tier. And keep in mind, just to make sure that the video is not too long as well, I'll probably just skim over some that are pretty obvious. I won't go too in depth about it, but with the S tiers, we'll go ahead and spend a little time and look into it. So Venti is the first character, and what they state is Venti is one of the most sought after Genshin Impact characters for good reason. Between his two abilities, he can effectively stun an enormous number of enemies for an unparalleled length of time. He's great in any fight where you're outnumbered by Skyward Sonnet, can also be useful for solving a few outdoor puzzles, and makes climbing a bit easier. He's useful in practically every circumstance. I totally agree with this. I have no qualms about Venti being here. I think he is S tier and he's absolutely fantastic. Not just as a support character, but also as a damage dealer. A really, really good character. And you can combo him into any element. Great for any team. Deluxe, I don't think there's any, surprises here. Deluxe is one of the best DPS characters in Genshin Impact. Between his two abilities, he can put out an absurd amount of damage, and his regular attacks are pretty vicious too. Stun your enemies with a character like Venti, switch to Deluxe, and watch them evaporate. Now, personally, I don't have Deluxe on my account. Absolutely sad, rip in the chat, but I know how great Deluxe is, and I don't think there's any surprise there. And then we have Fischl. They put Fischl in the S tier. Once again, I have no problems with Fischl being here. Now, the reason behind it for PCgamer anyways is they say that Fischl is S tier because of her utility and mobility. As a bow user, she normally fights from a safe distance, but is often better to use Knight Rider and then switch to another character to focus on DPS or queue up an elemental combo with the Raven's electro attacks. If you get surrounded or pushed into a corner, her elemental burst lets you escape quickly without taking any damage. Both are extremely useful skills. I totally agree with that as well. Fischl is a really good support character, but also can be a underrated, I believe, damage dealer in some sense. I know people understand that she can really output the damage. Her ultimate gets you out of situations, allows you to get into range and be able to maneuver yourself into a better position. And her elemental skill with Knight Rider is absolutely amazing. So with Oz, just throwing Oz out there, and she could combo really well. So no surprises there. And then we have the girl Chichi. You all know, if you've been on my channel, how much I absolutely adore Chichi. So I think this is very warranted. Welcome to your new healer. That's definitely true. Chichi is not only the best cryo character, but her ability to regenerate an enormous amount of health makes her an easy pick for any team. Both her cryo abilities heal the party if she attacks enemies affected by them, but what isn't immediately obvious is that healing scales based off of Chichi's attack stats, so load her up with attack boosting items. So I agree with that. Chichi is really good, and I think she's so well built as a character having her healing be based off her attack, because that allows her to be a really good tremendous damage dealer, but also a really good supporting healer for the team. And her being cryo, being able to freeze the enemies, combo into so many different elements. Chichi is just, you guys already know. Chichi's off the charts amazing. Now we're moving to the A tier, and this is where things get a little bit interesting. So in A tier they have Jean. I don't have a problem with Jean being in the A tier. I know some people will definitely go ahead and debate her being in the S tier. I wouldn't have a problem debating her being in the S tier as well, just because I know what Jean is capable of as far as her potential. Her ability to be able to just do massive damage and be a really good healer and crowd controller, which I believe they state here as well, with her elemental skill and her ultimate. So I don't have a problem with her being an A tier, but I can see where people debate her being an S tier, and I wouldn't fight you on that if you wanted to do that. I might even, you know, I may even slide her in the S tier, but I think Jean's amazing. I think she's a bit underrated, and I don't believe people understand how much damage she can actually output if you equip her properly and put the resources into her. Ask any Jean main and they will tell you Jean does damage. So she's a great support and can do damage. She may be S tier, but I don't have problems with her being an A tier either. Either way, I'm good. Kashing. Now, Kashing is very interesting. So what they say here, they have her in A tier. Kashing is an admirable DPS character who comes with some nice mobility thanks to her elemental skill. She can quickly dart around the battlefield or even up cliffs and other obstacles using stellar restoration. Her elemental burst also does big damage, making her a great addition to most any party. So once again, Kashing I know will be highly debatable. You have massive Kashing fans, me being one of them. Unfortunately, I don't have her, like Deluxe, rip in the chat once more. And I know a lot of people will argue that she should be an S tier. Once again, I won't fight you on that. I can see why they put her in A tier, just because she doesn't really have any supporting capabilities. She's mainly just a DPS focused character, but she has supporting capabilities in the aspect of being very versatile with her elemental type, her being Electro. So if you want to put her in S tier, I will not fight you on that, but I don't have problems with her being in A tier as well. So yeah, Kashing's awesome though. I wish I had her. And then moving on over to the MCs, for the Anemo element, they have them in A tier. I have no problems with that. I think they're great, good supporting characters. Can do combo with them being wind, so you know, nothing to really talk about there. And then Ling as an A tier, I think this suits her perfectly well. I think this is spot on. I don't believe she's S tier because I don't think she's that strong, but I think she is amazingly strong 4-star pyro character, especially if you don't have any other ones to lean on, especially being free to play. So I think she's amazing, extremely well at comboing and being a great DPS. I think Ling being here is a great choice. No arguments there. And then we have the boy Razor. I definitely want to do another showcase for my Razor because my Razor is decked out. But Razor being an A tier, I agree with this 100%. Me being right now a Razor main. As they state right here, Razor is a beast, and they mean that literally and metaphorically. He just puts damage out. He's just a damage dealer, much like Kashing. Razor is just a pure DPS damage dealer, and that's what he's meant to be. And him being Electro, obviously you can then combo with other typings, obviously, so he can fit into a team really well. But he doesn't have any supporting capabilities. He doesn't help the team out in any other way other than being Electro and just doing massive amount of damage. He's just your main DPS if you have none others. So yeah, I agree with Razor being an A tier. And then Xiao is a very interesting one. Now, I cannot comment on this because I have never used Xiao. I've only seen gameplay of him, so I cannot comment on this as far as whether he should be A tier or S tier. So you guys can let me know in the comments down below. I cannot make any determining factors here. You know, based off of what I've seen and what I've heard, I would have thought Xiao was S tier material, but as I look into it more, he may actually be A tier because he has great mobility, he has great damage, but I think there might be some things that he's lacking. He is a Nemo, so that's helping him, but I don't know. I can't comment on Xiao, but Xiao's there in A tier. And then we have Mona in A tier as well, which I believe this is accurate also because I don't believe Mona is a damage dealer per se. I know she can do damage, but I think she's just mainly as a supporting character who can help out the team tremendously, as well as her mobility makes her extremely useful. But outside of that, I don't think Mona is really used in any other areas outside of that, unless you're trying to build her specifically to be a damage dealer. So I think this is accurate as an A tier character. I don't believe she's S tier, and I don't believe she's B tier, so I believe that fits. Barbara being A tier, I think that's solely based off of her healing. Now, I know there are certain scenarios, much like Mona, where she can do damage, but I think, you know, she's just mainly a supporting, healing type of character. And, you know, I guess if you want to put her in A tier, I guess you can. I may be a little bit biased. I'm not a huge fan of Barbara, if I'm being 100% honest. I'm not. I don't know if that's just because I have Chichi, and Chichi does the job for me. I just never was a fan of Barbara, to be quite honest, with her gameplay style, how she operates, her just really just being a healer. I guess you can have her in A tier. I probably would have put her in B tier. I understand she's the best healer in the game, yada yada, you know, but that's just me. You let me know in the comments down below what you think, or if you disagree with me on that, which I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people disagreeing. I understand. Okay, now moving on to the B tier, we have the Anemo MCs. Once again, I don't have no problems them being in the B tier. They say that once you get to Liwa, you can change your main character's elemental affinity to Geo. It's not really worth it though, as neither of these abilities synergizes well with other elements, which is totally true. Usually the Geo is just to unlock puzzles and do certain things, but other than that, I don't see any other uses. So B tier, I'm fine with that. Now this is very interesting right here. Klee in the B tier. Now, based off of what I heard and what I've seen, I would have put Klee probably in the A tier, but they put her in the B tier. This is probably one that I would most likely disagree the most. You let me know in the comments down below what you think, but what they state for her being in the B tier, if you don't have a better pyro character like Ling or Deluxe, Klee is pretty decent stand-in. Her regular attacks are weak, but both of her abilities can do a lot of damage to a large number of enemies all at once. Other than that, she's pretty unremarkable. Interesting. I don't feel that way. I played with Klee. I had some time with Klee. Not a whole lot, albeit not a whole lot. But I see the potential of Klee, and I know what she could be capable of. And I do not believe in my heart of hearts that Ling deserves to be an A tier and Klee does not. I don't believe that, and I disagree with this one wholeheartedly. You let me know in the comments down below what you think, but wholeheartedly, I disagree with that one. And then this one is interesting. Chongyeong in the B tier. This is probably one I would disagree with as well. I probably would have put Chongyeong in the A tier, just because he's a great damage dealer. He's a Claymore user, which is extremely valuable, and cryo. You know, Chongyeong, he fits a lot of the builds that you may be looking for when it comes to building a team, as well as being a cryo character and Claymore. I disagree with this, but let's see what they say. Like a lot of characters in this tier, Chongyeong is a capable fighter who just lacks a certain something that makes him exceptional. He's a solid fighter who can take a beating, but his elemental burst just isn't that useful. I agree with that. The elemental burst is not all that great. His elemental skill, on the other hand, is great at setting up big damage combos or freezing groups of enemies solid. I agree with that. Cast the ability and then use Chongyeong's normal attack to hit them and apply the cryo effect. Switch to a Hydro character and use a Hydro ability to freeze entire groups solid. It's great. So, I mean, what they're stating sounds as if they would have put him in the A tier, but I guess he's lacking a certain something. I don't know exactly what that means, but I would have put Chongyeong in the A tier. You let me know in the comments down below what you would have done with Chongyeong. I know a lot of Chongyeong users are going to be upset about that one. And keep in mind, I'm not biased here because I don't even use Chongyeong. I don't have it built up at all just because I've been focusing on Razor, but I know what Chongyeong's capable of, and I don't agree with that. And then Bennett in the B tier. I don't mind this. I know Bennett's potential, and I know he can be great, but you have to work on that. You have to put the time into Bennett, and I know a lot of people won't. And so I don't mind that. You know, he's a great healer. He can be a good damage dealer. He's a solid character. He's a solid character. I don't think he's anything amazing though. Nothing to write home about. especially being Pyro. I think you can find a better Pyro user that will, benefit you a little bit more. And then moving to the C tier, my Kaya fans. My Kaya fans are going to be upset for their husbando right here. Another one of the freebie characters. Kaya just isn't that useful. Neither of his abilities do much to help the rest of the party, so you'll quickly replace him. I agree with that. Kaya is replaceable with Chongyeong, Chichi, things of that nature. There are uses for Kaya. You can make him good, just like any character. Personally, I wouldn't put the time into it. So you just, for Kaya, you would have to be a Kaya fan, right? Kaya has to be your husbando. And then Lisa, I agree with Lisa being in C tier. I know, once again, there's a lot of Lisa fans, but I just don't think Lisa's that great. She is, but there's just the electro typing is just really kind of locked down with Kashing, Fischl, Razor. I just think they do the job much better than Lisa. If you don't have any of those characters, Lisa's great, but I'm not a fan of Lisa. Just her gameplay just doesn't fit me. Oh, and then I totally forgot about Beto, and I think this is a bit of a travesty. This I disagree with. Beto in the C tier. Let's see what they have to say. Beto sounds really cool on paper, but it's surprisingly hard to use her elemental skill effectively. I don't believe that. Timing the block correctly isn't easy, and enemies don't always attack reliably enough to use the skill. You're better off just using a character whose best defense is a good offense. So, with that being said, I don't even have Beto, and I disagree with this. I think Beto is bare minimum B tier. I would even argue A tier. I don't think she's S tier, but I think she's a great character. I prefer Razor, I do, and I prefer Kashing, I do, but Beto is really good, and Beto has the potential to be extremely strong. I've seen it, and I know what she's capable of. I disagree with her being in C tier. I would put her in at least B tier, high B tier, low A tier for Beto. And then Ningguang, I might, and then Sucrose. Okay, let's talk. So, like Beto, Ningguang suffers in that playing defensively just really isn't that rewarding in Genshin Impact. So, that is true. I do agree with that, but I don't think Ningguang C tier. I don't like her gameplay style. I really don't. I have Ningguang. I've used her for a little bit. I'm not a fan of how she plays, but she has potential, boys. Let me tell you, I'm sure you're aware, she can do damage and she can be defensive. So I personally would have at least put her in B tier. I don't believe she belongs in C tier, but that's just my own personal opinion. And then Sucrose. I know there's a lot of Sucrose haters. I know not too many people like Sucrose. I don't even have Sucrose, but once again, Sucrose I know has the ability to be in B tier. I don't think Sucrose is C tier. I know everybody's saying she's a bootleg Venti, a discounted Venti, a generic version of Venti, but I don't believe that's true. I think Sucrose has her own place, has her own character. She can be her own person, and I think Sucrose, it can be good. But let's see what they say. Sucrose, why are your ability names so dumb? At least they're somewhat useful, but other Anemo characters are much better at pulling enemies into a confined space and then launching them for big damage. They're hinting at Venti on this one, which is true. I think Venti is better, but Sucrose is a very good alternative option. I think Jean is better as well. The Anemo area is a little bogged down as well, but I think Sucrose can be good. And I would put Sucrose in B tier. And then we have Jingkui or Jingxi. I haven't had much time with this character. I have him on the account. I haven't really used him. I want to try him out some more, but I'm just focusing on other things. So I can't really comment on this one, but C tier, I guess so. Let's see what they say. At the risk of repeating myself here, defensive characters just can't compete with offensive characters. That's just basically what they're referring to. It may be true. Hydro being a good element for Jingqi though, because there's not too many. But I can't really state anything on that one. And then Noelle in the C tier could be debatable. I might put Noelle in the B tier. It's just you have to invest in Noelle. And her gameplay style is not for most. I'm not a huge fan of Noelle, so I wouldn't argue her being in the C tier. I know there are some Noelle fans that really built her out and made her exceptionally strong. I understand that, and I think that goes for any character, just repeating myself one more time, but Yeah, I'm not a fan. And then Pooh tier character Amber. Pooh tier character Amber, is that? Yeah, okay. So let's see what they have to say. Poor Amber, no one loves her. Check any tier list and she's at the bottom. Why? Well, she's not that useful at all early on game. Yeah, she's good for puzzles, but once you have another archer, you don't need her. Both her abilities are underwhelming, especially Explosive Puppet. I can agree with that. You know, Amber is a little bit underwhelming. She has good constellations and she can be a hard hitter, but once again, you have to really invest in her. You have to make Amber work, and Amber just doesn't work for you like Deluxe. You know, Deluxe will just simply work for you. You don't have to invest too heavily for him to be exceptional. Amber, you do, and the Pyro, once again, is a little bit of a stacked element, you know, especially with Klee coming out relatively soon, supposedly. So I wouldn't say Amber's Pooh tier. I would say Amber's C tier, like low C tier, but you know, it is what it is. So I do have some disagreements here. You know, Amber, I would put in C tier. I wouldn't make a Pooh tier for Amber. Sucrose, Ningguang, Beto, I wouldn't agree with that. The rest I do, yeah, Chongyeong I completely disagree with, and Klee I disagree with as well. Other than that, yeah, I agree with pretty much the rest of this, so those are the ones that I would disagree with. But let me know in the comments down below, guys, what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below which was the biggest travesty of this tier list. And once again, this was just for fun, just to switch up the content. Don't take it too serious. Genshin Impact is not a tier list driven game by no means. Any of these characters, you heard me say it a couple of times already, you can make any of these characters S tier. You put the time, you put the investment, you invested their constellation, their talents, their skills, and they could be absolutely amazing for you, any one of them. So don't take tier lists too seriously in Genshin Impact. It's not that relevant like in other gacha games. But once again, I thought this was fun to review another person's tier list, PC Gamers in this case, and just kind of give my 2 cents and my thoughts on the matter. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like what you saw, and I'll see you in the next one. Remember to stand out, be different, have fun, go further beyond in everything that you do. And until next time, my boys, until next time, it's your homie Cody GT, and I'm out. Bye, guys.